Ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends lovers, welcome back to another Patch Notes reaction from the Gigabrain himself, me, Chris Allen. Currently sick. I have to go running in the rain soon, even while sick. And I know I always say this, but we have to do these patch notes quickly. But I didn't want to leave people without my expert knowledge and know-how. I am Emerald, by the way. I am kind of an Elo hell, but I am an Emerald, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. Kind of. Although my sick mind might see it differently today. But anyway, we're here to go over patch 14.5 and cough and drip snot everywhere. So let's just get into it. We gotta go fucking quick with this. And also, before we get into it, I'm fashionably late as usual, which means I forgot to do this yesterday. Anyway, plug in and get ready to game. It's time for patch 14.5. So some of the things I'm looking for, right? Hopefully they make ADCs good, but that's kind of taking a back step to a little bit of the drama that happened recently. So recently, one of the best champions in the game, ironically enough, has been a support. It's been Maokai. Maokai has been an issue. Tyler 1 has raged about it. A lot of other people have raged about it. And one thing that kind of gets called into question, which kind of started this whole big drama, is apparently Freak, right? Freak, has some hand in this, was other characters, and I get pissed off by this, right? Because this is where it doesn't help to dispel these rumors if this is the way it is. So, some characters, like Aesol, get buffed or get changed, and within one day, they get smacked down by their balls to getting nerfed. And they can't even have like a patch or a little bit of the patch to like sit and have fun. No, they get immediately smacked down. And usually what Riot likes to do is they like to go off win rates, right? They like to go off of statistics. Now, as I get my fucking tissue here. Now, I think that is somewhat okay to base some stuff off of. However, you can't fully go by it. You need to have your hand on the trigger of reality here. So if you purely try and get everything to a 50% win rate, as I've said before, not only with ARAM, also with Earth and stuff, I think going to a pure 50% win rate makes the game unfun. Things cannot be perfectly balanced. Not only is it extremely hard to do, but it takes out the fun of everything. If something is balanced, things are less fun. Hands down. That's what I've seen throughout my very limited life. But this is where some characters instantly get pushed down when their win rates get a little crazy. And by a little crazy, I mean like, probably 53% and higher, right? If they get like 54, 55, you better be sure they're getting hot fixed. Apparently, Maokai has been existing for patches on end, hasn't really gotten touched in a significant way, hasn't gotten nerfed enough to really lower him down to being in line with how Riot usually does it. And people were like, what the fuck? And then they find out that Freak has hit his all-time peak rank, his highest rank ever, using Maokai support. And he's an ADC main. So now it casts a shade of doubt to be like, well, why isn't Maokai getting nerfed? Why isn't he getting the same normal treatment? It's probably because of favoritism. Now, I don't want to feed into these rumors, right? I'm just here to deliver the news. I'm the delivery boy. Who's also pretty sexy. But this is where basically people are like, what the fuck's going on? This is fucked up. That's not normal. So we're gonna see if they nerf Maokai. We're gonna see if they buff ADCs, hopefully. That's basically the two things I'm looking for. And secret third thing is I hope they nerf lethality as well. Either way, let's see what they're doing. I just wasted a lot of time on that. So, plug in and get ready to game. It's time for patch 14.5. So, in this week's patch, we're taking a beat to make follow-up changes on some adjustments from previous patches, like Seraphine, who's been an issue in the bot lane, Rek'Sai, who probably needs adjustments after her rework, which either made her too strong or too weak. We'll see. And Smolder, which I actually heard about, and this is going to be interesting. I have some things to say about Smoldy. While addressing a handful of champions that are currently overperforming, additionally, we're continuing to do some support abs. Okay, cool. And they're talking about AP Assassins. Oh joy. Oh joy. In other news, we also have the season 2024 split one ranked end dates and times, which is still a good bit away, but at least now we know. A round of ARAM changes and they're updating project. I actually didn't even know that. Holy shit. So this is where one of my dreams came true, right? And it's sad that this dream came true in a negative way. And if you've been a purveyor of the patch notes, you will know what I'm about to say for the most part. But surrender at 20 dying basically means I'm not in the know-how as I used to be with what's coming out skin-wise and stuff. And also because my interest in the game has gotten a little low. Because I'm so fucking good, the game has gotten boring. But essentially, now I'm surprised, and I love being surprised, right? It's a shame they don't do teasers or like yeah, basically teasers for the new skins. They really don't. So it's a real shame they don't tease the new skins anymore, especially the legendaries, even though some of them have gone down in quality. I still found it like cool that we would have to guess and get hyped for stuff, teasing stuff, and this kind of goes a little bit out of the past shows here, but to what Netflix and stuff now does. Instead of having shows come out weekly, which generated hype and speculation, they now just release them all at once. It's kind of like what Riot's doing for skins. They don't even care about teasing them anymore. They just kind of release them. So it's a little bit of a missed opportunity, IMO, in my opinion. But either way, I'm very happy we're getting Project. Project is one of my favorite lines. We're going to go over the skins at the end. But from the things I see here, I hope there's a legendary in there. I really hope there is. But so far from what I see, just from the silhouettes from these little squares, which I'm not going to fully look at, I'm assuming it's Neferi, Gangplank, and Pantheon. But that's just me assuming. Anyway, we'll go over that at the end. It seems like a pretty light patch for skins anyway. But again, that's at the end. Anyway, ranked split 1 and 2 timing. So, we're 2 months into 2024. Whoopee, how time flies, right? We'll all be dead before we know it. To share split 1, okay, so you could get your goals in order. So, split 1 ends May 14th. Split 2 obviously starts the day after. Nice. Cool. Okay, Bel'Veth. So, Bel'Veth is one of the champions that I feel that is similar to Cassante, which ironically enough, because of a person in my ranked games that called him this, I kind of, subconsciously call Cassante Ensante because that's what they started calling him. And I was like, wow, that is something. So I feel like Bel'Veth is kind of like Cassante, where it's like, apparently they're good, because I look at their win rates on u.gg, but when I play them, I don't feel like I do that good. So it makes me think either they're not brain dead as I thought, or there's people abusing them. So, because, I'm not having an easy enough time. Granted, if I try, I could do good, but at the base level, I'm not having easy enough time. So, what are they doing? I'm assuming they're going to nerf her because her win rate's high. Do I think she needs it? No. I think she's been nerfed enough after her release. Now, granted, items in the jungle have changed since then, and she does feel a little bit better early, but she was supposed to be a super scaler, and I think her whole fantasy is getting faded more and more. She used to be this late game animal, and then they traded that because early game champions never fucking work. It's the same thing that happened with Kale. When Kale came out, they had her giga scale late, but her early was so bad. She used to get ranged at level 11. When she got her second ult point, which I believe is at 11, that's when she got her ranged, and they needed to switch it because she was just having no, like, the players were having no fun. So I'm assuming they're gonna either nerf her or switch more of her power early and reduce it late, but let's see. I feel like her early's not as bad as it used to be though, so maybe it's too strong. Because again, she is a giga scaler, so relatively. Anyway, so Bel'Veth is currently the Empress of the Void and dueling in the early game. The damage reduction coming from is a key contributor to this. Yeah, kind of. So bringing it down a notch while addressing some grub bugs. Interesting. So, passive. Fix the bug that caused Bel'Veth to get 3 stacks for each epic void monster. She now gets 2 Death and Lavender stacks per void grub. So it's a total of 6. Cool. Okay, well that really is just a bug fix. It really is a nerf, similar to Jin, but it's cool. And then the damage reduction is going from 42 to 35, and then from 70 to 55. That is definitely significant. I'm thinking this is gonna sting. People are definitely gonna feel it. Bel'Veth is gonna be a little bit more squishy. I think this does rein her in enough. I hope they don't really touch her after this. The E is good. It really is for skill players. Like, it's not really for bad players. But then again, if you're a bad player, you're probably not doing good on Bel'Veth anyway because of what I said before. I don't think she's a face roll champion, even though she becomes one later on. I think this is okay for now. Excuse me. Brand. So I feel like they keep tuning Brand because they want him to do damage, they want him to go jungle, but they don't want him to do too damage, and they're trying to find a middle ground between that. Now, one thing I wish they specified in his passive, which I read recently when I was playing ARAM, ironically enough, was that his passive only deals 80 damage per second maximum. Now, with the way they changed the dot, because I remember one patch they spread out his dot more. The dot does the same damage, it just shows up more, it ticks more often, so it looks cooler. But at the expense of looking cooler, it's now harder to read how much damage you're actually doing with it. Excuse me. So, it's weird. I don't know if that 80 damage max is to jungle monsters. I think it definitely applies to them, but I don't know if it applies to champions as well. So, in general, what I feel about Brand, I feel like Brand's honestly on the weaker side. He does do damage, but I remember his passive used to be like a death sentence when he would get 3 stacks. Now it's just more like a little tickle. It's a little tickle to the balls. So, we gotta see how this is. So let's see. While we feel Brand's power level is appropriate in the jungle, he's far too dominant in mid and support and platinum and below. So he's a face roll champion. Not surprised. As such, we'll be reducing his explosive burst damage, which disproportionately more powerful in these skill brackets when people suck. So the damage to minions is going up, which doesn't really make sense. And then the R damage is going down. Wait, no. Yes, it's going down by like 25, then 50 later. I mean, honestly, that's fine. It's very little, but again, death by 1,000 cuts is where I likes to do. That's honestly not too bad. And the cooldown is going slightly up early, way up later. Wow, 75, 85. Yeah, like 15 seconds. I mean, granted, you don't feel it as much because of cooldown, but Bread's ult is a little longer. Granted, he's probably going to have it up every fight he needs it, but this is a little tickle to his balls. I really don't think this is going to do much. Evelyn. So I believe Evelyn, from what I saw, ironically enough, on Twitter, is getting a new skin, and because of that, she's getting buffed probably. So let's see. I think Evelyn is strong, but she's single target, and she's kind of hard to play. So let's see. Evelyn has been dominating the top skill brackets of solo queue for a while. Oh, wow, so they're nerfing her. Wow. We're taking a swing at how quickly she can snowball with gold and dark seal stack. So they're just nerfing her scaling by 5%. Again, death by 1,000 cuts. Now, if they lowered this from 30 to 20, I'd be like, ooh, that's a little bit. But let's just say next patch they lower it by another 5. Then I'm not going to remember it that they lowered it by 5 this patch. Although now that I'm mentioning it, maybe I might. But it's like, they'll get you eventually, right? We'll hopefully get you eventually, unless you're Maokai. So, J4. I feel like J4 just needs a rework, honestly. He is one of the simple characters, and it's fine to have simple characters, but in this day and age, if you have simple characters, they're going to get eclipsed by almost all of the newer characters, and unless they're stat sticks, unless they're just, like, winning stat-wise, they're just going to get fucked. Like, look at Smolder. Smolder's a simple character, but he has a lot of bells and whistles with all the stacks, which ironically enough, they're changing, I heard, but we'll see that soon. But Smolder's a very simple champion that can keep up by modern standards because he has a lot of bullshit in his kit that kind of just augments him, right? Even though his kit at the base level is very simple. Jarvan is the opposite. He's old, he's dated. I really think they need to give him like an ASU or not an ASU, like a gameplay update. I really think they do. Because Jarvan really is like you just go in, ult, and that's it. Yeah, your one auto's cool with the passive, but it's like Jarvan's only really going to be good if he does more than that, because other people do his job decently. Maybe he does the engage part the best and the nuke damage at the beginning the best if he's building nuke damage, but again, he just can't compete with the newer champs. Like, he's too simple. He's too simple, and he's only good if he's stat checking people, personally. Anyway, what are they doing? After the changes to Shojin, Jarvan no longer has to be tuned around excessively high haste, because that was his niche. He would just jump everywhere. He's currently in need of a little extra power, so his armor is going up, and his Q cooldown is going down by a lot. Wow. I mean, the Q cooldown going down is really good. We might see the return of Lane Jarvan, because the poke is just so good on a 6-second cooldown. But I don't remember, because I don't use him, the cooldown of the E, so this could be good, but I just don't know if it lines up with the cooldown of the E. It probably doesn't. You probably could use 2 Qs before you can E. Although it's going to be a little awkward, but Jarvan's definitely better. I actually think this change is pretty decent. 8 seconds to 6 seconds is really fucking good. Either way, Jarvan's pretty good. Kayn. I don't know why so many people go blue Kayn when they're feeding. Like, this has nothing to do with the balance of the champion. I just think the players are stupid. Now, that might also be factored in, and it should be factored into the balance of the champion, at least to make the game more fun, in my opinion, but I don't think Riot would ever do that. So, What do I think of Kane? I think Kane's alright. I don't think he's crazy because I don't see him too often, especially red form. Even though I think red form is still the best overall. Blue form is good if you're ahead or if they're full squishy, or if you have takes already like top lane or support, which is very rare now. But overall, I think Kane is a buff. So let's see. Red Kane is feeling pretty blue. Whoopee, I was right. After losing access to Gore Drinker and Nurse to his passive, he no longer feels like he's able to drain tank fights, which was a cool thematic for him. And thus he has to build lethality to do slightly better than if he were to build fighters, which admittedly still isn't great. We like to raise the power level of Darken Kane while also nudging the performance towards fighter. So what are they doing? So his healing is going up based on bonus health. So that's a great change, right? They're incentivizing you to build what they want to build. Now, is it taking certain build options and stuff away? Not really, because this is literally just making it better. They're not necessarily nerfing it. They're just making it better and pushing you towards what they want, which is good. But at that point, it's like if that's the only thing that's good, they are kind of incentivizing you to do that. But either way, I think that's a great way to do it. I don't think they need to nerf the main thing. They just need to buff what they want, which is bonus health. Scaling off bonus health is good. And then the R, the Dark Form healing is going from 65 to 75. That's a pretty good increase. Kane is slightly better. I like this. Kog'Maw. Okay, so what I think of Kog'Maw. Ironically enough, and I've been saying it a lot, this is kind of the patch with just me saying people need reworks. Ironically enough. So I honestly think Kog'Maw does need a rework. I'm sad he didn't win out, and Shyvana did, even though she never won. They just said, you know what, we like her, so we're gonna do it anyway. So I'm really sad Kog'Maw didn't win because I love Kog'Maw. Obviously, he's one of my favorite ADCs. I mean, literally, right? If I just go to my profile here, look at my most played champions. It's Jhin, Jinx, and Kog'Maw. You know I'm an ADC main, right? But as you might notice, I've gotten S pluses with Jhin and Jinx, but not with Kog'Maw this season. And why is that? That's because Kog'Maw kind of sucks. Even though the only thing they've buffed like twice now, they added a new item in and they buffed it and they buffed Kraken Slayer. All of this stuff works well for on hit, but for some reason, maybe like the items or like the stats or whatever the fuck happened, Kog'Maw doesn't feel as good. Like I was versing a Mundo, right? A fucking Mundo in Clash like 2 weeks back or something at this point. I don't remember. But excuse me, this Mundo got extremely fed, and it's Mundo. He builds health, and I could not kill him. Granted, he was fed as shit, but Kog'Maw late game, I wasn't able to like properly feel like I was shredding Mundo, even though he builds the stat I like, which is health. I was shocked. I was appalled. And I've played Kog'Maw more than that. That's not like, the exception to the rule. It's the proving thing. This is where excuse me. This is where Kog'Maw just doesn't feel as good. And I don't know why. I really don't. So I really hope they buff him. My dream is for them to rework him, actually give him a useful passive, change his ult, because they said if they have to sacrifice AP if they ever rework him, they will. Fuck AP, just give us AD hyper, giga scale carry, please. So what are they doing? Kog'Maw is a sad void puppy who's very reliant on just his W, which is true. You could go the entire game without using anything but his W. What's going on, Creepus? How's it going? I'm doing patch notes right now. Fuck, and I'm sick. So, yeah, Kog'Maw could really just go through the entire game just using his W. So, we're looking to reinforce that Kog'Maw feels like his whole kit is useful, which is going to be very hard. I hope they don't nerf the W and spread the usefulness to the rest of his kit, because, like, it's going to be so bad in terms of Kog'Maw's fantasy. It really is. You're not 16 anymore? Yeah, but you're still a young boy, Creepus. You're still a young man, so value it while you can. When you get older like me, you're gonna suffer from the age. But anyway, we need to hurry with patch notes, so I need to focus. I need to focus on patch notes here. Anyway, so and feel good for his primary style. So these changes include letting him weave Q into his pattern a bit more. Interesting. This might also make Trinity a bit better, which is a cool option for him. No, it's not, unless it's broken. But not the goal here. So they're even trying to like tell you like bullshit here. They're trying to tell you like, oh, maybe build Trinity. No, don't do that. Well, actually, I can see an argument for it. Never mind. I can actually see an argument for it. Anyway, we're also making E a spell worth casting. I'd like to see that, because if they make it too good, they're going to have to nerf it. The E is a very one-sided spell, especially if you're building AP. So my fear is they're going to overbuff AD. They're going to overbuff the E for AD Kog'Maw, and AP Kog'Maw is going to become meta again, and then he's just going to get nerfed, and both things are going to suffer. Both his AD and his AP. So I'm a little scared. Either way, as a current number of Cogmaws, or as they like to say it, the plural version, Cogme, which is actually kind of cute, don't even put points into E. I can see that too, because I basically do the same thing as with Jin. Jin, I don't put points into E at all. Finally, we're making Kog'Maw's passive a bit more reliable and buffing his R up to AD builds. Wow. Okay, so let's see this. Let's see this. So, Kog'Maw's passive, which if you play good, basically you don't have a passive. This doesn't affect you until you fucked up, which is a terrible passive in my opinion, but it's a good salvaging tool. Like if you fucked up, you could maybe get something out of it. So, but if you play a perfect Kog'Maw game, you literally don't have a passive. Which granted, Kog'Maw is really strong anyway, but let's keep looking. So, 10 to 50 is a little bit better. It's literally just a little bit better. That's nothing. So his Q, cast time now matches his auto attack frame time. I don't know what that means, but I'm just gonna take their word for it that it's gonna feel better. I will definitely test this. I will test it, and we shall see. I will hopefully come back to it in a future update, in a future patch notes when they mention Kog'Maw again. But again, we shall see. So his E, the slow is going up by 10%. Wow. Wow, big fucking whoop. They made this seem like it was way more than it is. Anyway, his R, Living Artillery. So now the base damage is the same. The bonus AD is going up by 10%, and that's it. I was excited for no reason. I really was. Like, the biggest changes are probably the passive a little bit, even though it's alright. And the Q, but we gotta see the Q. The E is alright. Like, it's literally just okay. They wrote a lot more than they need to. Now, granted, they did touch a lot. I'm not gonna say they didn't touch a lot. They did. But it just feels like a little bit of, like, sprinkles to the cake. Like, and there's no cake. So it's like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, now we go to Lamau Kai. I wonder if they're going to mention Freak or anything. I don't think they will, but we shall see. So, Maokai, I mean, obviously they're going to nerf him, by the way. Maokai is still performing far better than he needs to at support, and they haven't hotfixed him. Although some of that is due to Solstice Slay being overpowered, which I forgot what that even does. The one time I got a Maokai support, he basically shot himself, roamed, and then shot himself some more. So the one time I've seen it, it didn't do good. We believe that a mix of Solstice getting nerfed this patch and some direct changes should get Maokai support in line, even if we're nerfing him as a support. We want him to maintain his viability as a juggler, which I think is interesting. I think Maokai is just so weird, man. I don't know. I feel like he needs to be top lane. His kit's so weird. It really is. Like, the W's great, the Q's great. I think the E and the ult need to be changed at least a little bit to be more, like, cool. The E is, like, either really good or really bad. It's worthless, so it's very weird. Like, in an actual fight, your E is not even going to matter. Unless you put in a bush and it happens before, after, or during the fight, which is kind of rare, because you can only really do one, right? I feel like the E is probably the least impactful in the actual fights. And the ult is the ult. The ult is good, but it's niche, personally. So, although that's all this patch note says, it's just personally. Either way, let's see what they're doing. So his base move speed, which is one of the stats I really think is very undervalued by a majority of stupid people, is going down, so that's pretty good. His Q, the damage is going up in the jungle, and his W is going up by 1 second. See, I don't even know what the issue with Maokai is. Like, maybe it is his cooldowns being too low, and I gotta see what Solstice Slay does, but for now, this doesn't seem like a lot. It really doesn't. Nidalee! So I think Nidalee sucks ass. I think the only time Nidalee is good is if she's really, really overpowered numbers-wise. Because her kit basically... Oh, look, we're patching right now. Look at that. I think her kit, just in general, is very, like, hit or miss. Similar to Lee Sin, right? You land your Q, you do everything. You don't land your Q, you do nothing. That's why I think this character's free for him. Now, is that bad? Again, is it bad to have characters like that? No. Do I like them? No. So Nidalee always gains my hate for that. Although I have played Nidalee again in ARAM, and she actually is quite fun. I actually have a newfound respect for her. So, I don't hate her as much. I just hate her because she really does nothing besides single target. And single target when you're taking up the jungle role, especially when it's as hit or miss with the Q as she is, it's very iffy. It's very iffy. So I'm not saying a good person can't do good with her. It's just it's rare to find one. It's really rare. And if you're not doing good with her, aka landing the Q, you're doing nothing. It basically all hinges on one thing. Like her traps are basically fucking useless. You can forget about them. Anyway, let's keep looking, looking, looking. So what are they doing? I'm assuming they're gonna buffer, but I guess we'll see. Nidalee is in a pretty stable place right now, but that's only if you look at Emerald and below and High Diamond and above. She's at apex predator levels of power. So again, the good people are abusing her. In order to keep her in a good state, we're hitting her with some high skill skewed nerfs. So probably her Q. Namely her base mobility and her Q. So again, her move speed, because that does nerf like high tier people, because all they do is roam. So her move speed is going down, and then her Q is also going down to hunted targets. So they're not reducing her poke, they're reducing her all in, which I think is fine because she kind of does both. Like she pokes you and she all ins you. She's capable of doing both, but I think her poke is way better than her all in, and both can't be the same. But you know, I'm not an elite player. Am I sad she's getting nerfed? No. Is it deserved? I don't think this hard. I think they could have put it to 35 personally, but that's just me. I think she's getting smacked a little too tough. Rek'Sai, oh my god, I see a lot of text here. I'll be straight up honest. I have not seen Rek'Sai since the rework, so I really have no opinion on this. I don't know how it landed. I really don't. So let's see. Rek'Sai's kit update has done a lot for raising interest, her play rate, but she landed weaker than we hoped. Okay, so Riot's sucking her again. Like, dude, Rek'Sai just always feels like she's shit. I have not seen Rek'Sai be good again, unless it was like the very first time she released with this stupid AP build, or like some other bullshit. But most of Rek'Sai's life, she feels lackluster and shit. And I mean, it's nice that they're trying, but I feel like they're not doing enough. Like Rek'Sai really just blows wiener. She's so weird. Anyway, so they're largely buffing her. Most notably, her attack animations are being sped up, and we're returning the uncancelable Queen's Wrath attack, which was temporarily removed to prevent another bug. We're buffing her strongest DNR to help them. Okay, what are they doing? So, attack wind up. What the fuck? This means that attacks take 25% less time to fully animate. That's a 3% less. Okay, cute. This means her attack deals the damage about 20% earlier. So it just looks better. I feel like this means it looks better. So the Q. Q can no longer be canceled mid-attack, so that actually, I think, helps people. People can't fuck it up. Her cast frame, it just looks better earlier, I guess. And, see, they say it looks better. It's quality of life, but I feel like the cast frame stuff is actually a buff, but it's like, how do you understand what this means? 12 frames to 9 frames. It's like, normal people wouldn't get that. You have to be a champion main to really understand that. And then bug fix. Attacks now stack spirit shoujo when hitting only one champion. Cool. So, W. Unburrow will knock up all lodge monsters if they're eligible. I thought that should have been a thing already, but okay. Unburrow can have damage, but not knock up targets who were recently knocked up and immune to Unburrow. Fix the bug where Rek'Sai would stop auto-attacking after burrowing. What the fuck? So there's just a lot of bug fixes here. What the hell? So her E, Tunnel. There's the frequency of a bug that causes Rek'Sai to occasionally fail to dash when crossing walls. What? And then her E. So now the max health is going up earlier. I think that's really good, actually. 6 to 8% is pretty decent. And then the bonus damage is going up too. Very nice. And then her R. Void Rush. Angel Rush. Fucking One Punch Man. The base damage is going up by 50, which is pretty good. And then the AD of the target's missing, or sorry, the scaling of the target's missing health is going up too. The ult is I think not giga buffed, but the ult is definitely the strongest winner here, I feel like. And then miscellaneous, they made some improvements. So yeah, Rek'Sai hopefully is now better. Again, I honestly don't know. I'm not gonna try her out. I doubt I will. Maybe I should though, honestly. But yeah, no, Rek'Sai seems a lot better from what she was. That's cool. Senna. Senna is basically for people who don't want to go mage but still want to support, even though it's not really supporting. So Senna's played a lot, and I think she sucks ass. A lot of people suck ass at her because she really is just straight squishy. Now, I can see this going two ways. I can either see them not liking her because she's an AD and nerfing her, or buffing her up because she's too fucking squishy and people are inting a lot on her. Which one are they gonna do? I honestly don't know, because Riot loves Senna because they keep giving her fucking skins. So let's see. Also, I don't even know what they're going on her. Like, I don't even know like if she's AD or support anymore. Because I've seen it interchanged. Either way, Senna is quite powerful at the moment. I would somewhat agree. Dominating as a conventional bot laner in solo queue and as a support in pro play. So she's basically fucked in both casual and competitive, which to Riot is a big no-no. In order to bring her down a notch, we're taking a chunk of her Q scaling. Wow. So let's see this. So her damage is going down by 10%. Bonus AD. Cool. Alright. I mean, she's still decent. She's still alright. If they do it any more down, I think she's kind of in the gutter. But again, I won't notice it in the other patches because I won't remember this. Either way. Oh my sweet Jesus Christ. Okay. I'll try and make this one quick. Seraphine is a problem. Seraphine was always a problem. She came out as a support. She has such good scaling, she was mid. They tried to buff her support by buffing her damage, which inadvertently buffed her mid. They then buffed her so much she became an ADC, but at this point, who isn't? And now basically she's one of the she not only is, but she has been one of the best bot lane slash mid lane characters in the game. And it all goes back to one simple idea. And there is more to it than this, right? There is more to it than just this, but it goes back to the whole simple idea of wave clear. If you can wave clear, which is what Asol's main problem was before the rework, he was wave clearing and then he was roaming. And that was kind of the main issue. If you could do that, you're automatically pretty good. So let's see what they're doing. They're hardcore probably gonna nerf her, because she has been an issue. The vast majority of Seraphine players' base is in support, which is ugly, but I guess where she's supposed to be. Where she is currently critically weak. Ha! Typically we just buff her, but she's also significantly overpowered as a bot lane AP carry, which means simpler tactics aren't available, so they basically fucked up. We're trying again to close the gap between the two roles while being mindful of players that find fun about her in each playstyle. So I don't understand that, right? They are trying to account for the minority here, but if the majority does play support, just balance around that. Excuse me. Like, she's obviously causing an issue. Like, fuck the ADC Seraphine players. Fuck them. Excuse me. For APC Seraphine, we're playing up her repeated damage, Q's missile speed, execute damage. Is still worthy of maxing over W. Well, W sucks, but okay. As compensation, she's losing a lot of power against minions and a bit of a top-end ultimate power. Oh? Oh, it says champions, not minions. I was confused. I thought they fucked themselves there. Anyway, for support Seraphine, we're embracing her various builds. There's a logical case for every conceivable skill order. I don't believe that at all. And we're trying to make those choices viable based on what game you're facing. Want to be about shielding? You max W. It should be equally viable to maxing Q or E. I was about to say, like, I can understand maxing E. I can understand maxing Q. I can never understand maxing W, but I guess they want that to be up to par too. Either way, want to cosplay as a full mage and just deal as much damage as possible, go right ahead. We also think the option should be supported. And I feel like they think that because she has the ultimate skin. That was one of the worst ultimate skins in the game. Only eclipsed by the Samira ultimate. Anyway, we're also delivering some small support skew changes like shifting her mana. Okay, cool. So let's see what they're doing. So her base stats, she's actually gaining movement speed, which is a great buff. Mana growth is down, mana regen's up, so it scales better with the support items like they said. Base AD is down, which is fine. And then the passive. So now her passive, which you should even be using on minions anyway, is now removed. I guess it helped for supers later on, but this is fine to me. Granted, I'm not too much of a Seraphine player, but this is fine to me. So her Q missile speed. The missile speed's going up, which is good. The cooldown's going down, which is crazy. The mana cost is going up, which is fair. The damage is also going up, which is insane. The maximum damage amp is going up. So they're actually buffing her damage. I find this insane. So the damage amp no longer affects minions, so that's fine. And no longer prevents minions from dying to other minions while in like what? It would stop minions from dying so you could get it. Wait, what? That's so crazy. What? So the Q's just better. The Q's just straight up better. Holy shit. So the W cooldown is going lower, a lot lower earlier. Jesus. I mean, I always thought Seraphina's W wasn't that strong, so I did understand why the long cooldown for it was there. Like, it really is not that crazy, but the mana cost is going down slightly, so that's good. The shield, which is what I think the main part they should buff, is going up by a little bit, by 10. Whoopie do. And then the bonus move speed is going down. The shield is like lackluster. This thing really it's a lot better early because of the cooldown, but it really is the same. So the E, the beat drop, it actually is a little worse early, better late. Cool. Mana cost is equalized. That's a lot better. Damage is up, and the scaling is a lot higher. Holy shit! The slow duration now scales, and the minion damage at 70. So they're basically just nerfing her wave clear and making her more of a damage person. I actually think this is really, really bad. And bad in terms of, like, she's gonna be pretty good after this. Holy shit, I'm actually scared. And what are they doing to her ult? So her ult is doing a lot less scaling damage by 20, okay? 20%. And then the cooldown's going up. I think that's right. I think her ult is very, very impactful to a team fight. Like, it already does a good amount of CC. I think the fact that, like, it could nuke you too was kind of stupid, even though it really wasn't nuking per se, but I feel like this is the fairest nerf they could give, because I think they actually giga buffed her. I think so far of this whole patch, Seraphine probably is eating the biggest cake. So, on to Sivir. What do I think of Sivir? Sivir fucking sucks. Crit ADCs suck, Sivir sucks. Sivir is one of the weaker crit ADCs, and she sucks dick. So, what are they doing? Sivir has been weak for a while, and while examining where we could give her some power, we noticed that with such a short attack range, it's hard for her to have an interactive laning phase. True, as we bring up to a much more higher base armor value to let her trade. 26 to 30. So like I always say, the lower your armor is, the more impactful it is to get more. This is pretty decent. It's not crazy. It's decent. Does this fix any of her issues? I don't think so. But she's slightly better, but she still sucks. Cool. Alright, Smoldy. Holy fucking shit, we have a lot to go through. It's already 420. What do I think of Smoldy? I really like Smoldy. This is where, ironically enough, it's the opposite of what I said before. I said before there's characters that have really high win rates. Like, Belveth, Cassante, and stuff that are really good. But I just can't use them for some reason. Like, I can't use them well. I feel like Smolder's the exact opposite. Not only is he simple, but he has a low win rate, even though he's simple. But I use him pretty fucking well. I think he has a very, very unique playstyle. He's most similar to Ezreal. However, you play him very differently from Ezreal. You're basically a farming Ezreal that actually scales. And you build Smolder like you build no other AD. You build him for pure, like, ability cooldown. Which you would think you'd build Ezreal like that, but no, you wouldn't. Which is weird. But, I really, really like Smolder. I think Smolder's cool. I think he's a nice breath of fresh air. I think he's amazing. I really, really like him. And I think his late game is really fucking good, too. Granted, he does play out the ADC fantasy, right? You farm up, you stack your stacks, you get to late, and you start eating ass. I don't know what they're going to do, because, again, maybe in pro play or with really skilled players like myself, he's really fucking good. Like, he's actually really good. It's crazy what he could do. However, Mulder is not that good in the common populace. His win rate's not that good. I actually want to check it right now. Let me see real quick. U.GG Smolder. So Smolder right now is oh wait a minute, hold up. See, this is probably from last patch, or is it? So apparently it's from this patch, but his win rate right now is near 53%. So I can imagine him getting hotfixed with this shit almost. Wow, what did they do? Again, I don't know if this is from last patch or this patch, but he's the second best ADC in the game, which is not how I remember him or his win rate. Anyway, let's see what they're doing. So I know they're reworking, but I don't know why. Like, I don't know if they're gonna buff or nerf him. We gotta see. So Q damage adjusted, E bolt quantity adjusted. His E was the worst part of his kit damage wise, personally. R damage decreased, sweet spot damage increased, self heal increased. Cool. So let's see. Smolder is currently at the healthy spot. We're generally happy with how he's landed. That's good, relatively. In this patch, we're making some adjustments to how he scales and interacts with the item system to disincentivize tankier builds. At that point, they have to just change the items. Or really, really change the scaling. To put even more emphasis on his stacking and late game Dragon Fantasy. Thank God, because that's the part that everyone likes. We also want proactive E catch to matter more for all builds, not just crit ones. Yeah, because the E really sucked cock. Finally, our sweet spot mechanic is a little underemphasized. I actually thought it was good. I actually thought the R sweet spot did a lot more damage than I expected it to. Excuse me. Especially because it heals him, and it does really good damage. Now, the heal is kind of weaker. I will admit, the heal is lackluster, but the damage the sweet spot did, especially for being able to hit the entire enemy team, was really fucking good. Anyway, what are they doing? So, the third upgrades bonus true damage. It's going from 6.5 max health to 2% bonus AD plus 1 AP for some reason, plus 0.8% of your dragon stacks of maximum health. I think overall, now let me get my handy dandy calculator here, right? Let's just say you have to get 225 stacks to even get this, right? So 225 times 0.08, that's 18. I have to be doing this wrong. What is 1%? What is 1% of this? So 225 times 0.01. Oh, so it's 0.008. Wait, so that's 2.25. So 225 times 0.008 is 1.8. So you're literally getting like almost 2% extra. So, but it is also scaling off of bonus AD. So it could go up. I gotta see the real numbers in game though. I gotta see the reality of this shit. But this is definitely interesting. This is actually really, really interesting. I'm curious to see this more. So, his Q will take a raid check on that, but I think it actually might be better the later you go, which is always what I like. Because you don't really get this till later anyway, so that's fine. So the E, flap, flap, flap. So, it's basically just based off of your dragon stacks now. So they're saying fuck crit builds just based on you. Cool. And they clarify that the bolts are not attacks. Cool. So his ult damage is going slightly down. Okay, the scaling is pretty much the same. And then the sweet spot is increased from 30 to 50. That's actually insane. Holy shit. And then the self-heal is going up. No, it's going down, but it's now scaling off AD as well. Wow. Okay, cool. Frame data on his basic text has been adjusted to better match Smolder's animations. I did feel it was a little off, ironically enough. His autos did feel a little weird, but we gotta see. I honestly don't know if Smolder's better. I mean, his E's definitely better because he barely built crit. He built a little bit, but he didn't build a lot, so his E's a little bit better. His Q raid check and his R, I think personally, is just overall a lot better. I really think it's a lot better. That's how you hit the sweet spot. Overall, Smolder got a buff. I think this is good. I think this is really good. I'm very curious to see the Q, though. That's the main point of contention. Because that's the strongest part of his fucking kit. So, at least late game. Early game, you can make an argument it's the W. But, either way. TF. What are they doing to TF? I think AD-TF is still the premier go-to, which I don't know how they feel about that, because they said TF was too good, and then they nerfed his AP and basically did nothing to his AD, which was confusing to me, but let's take a look. Maybe they don't want him AD. Like, I find it so weird how for forever, right? For most of TS life, unless you were trolling, you did not go AD. Like, AP was the premier, and to just switch up the champion like that is a little weird. I feel like they want to have both. I don't know if they can. I honestly don't know if they can have both worlds of AD and AP be equally as valuable. But we gotta see. So, Twisted Fates continues to show up the band charts while being a top performer, which is insane. Ultimately, we want to ensure AP Twisted Fate is stronger way to play him while also getting AD Twisted Fate into the Bible. So that's where their stance is. They just said it themselves. They want AP to be better, which doesn't make sense because they made it worse. I feel like AD is a lot better than AP, but I guess it matters on the skill of the player. I feel like AP and AD kind of require different things. Obviously, AD, you need to be an ADC, you need to kite, you need to learn how to position. AP, it's more burst. I feel like AP is easier. AP, I think, is easier at a higher level. AD is a little harder because it's, ADC sucks. So, what are they doing? They're nerfing him. His attack speed's going down by 10, which kind of sucks, but it's whatever. His bonus damage is getting... Oh my god! His bonus damage is getting neutered! It's going from 75 to 20. That's actually insane. That is actually a ginormous chunk. Holy fucking Jesus Christ, they smacked the shit out of him. They took a bat and basically did what happened on The Walking Dead, which I don't want to spoil too much, but if you know, you know. Crazy. All right, Vayne. Well, actually, to leave off on TF here, do I still think he'll be viable? I don't know. That's a big fucking nerf. Now, granted, I forgot if the AD thing was there to begin with, so it still might be better than it was before, and the Q still scales off of it too, and the W still scales off AD now too. So again, he's not losing everything they gave him, I don't think. But wow, that's a huge ass fucking nerf. Holy shit. And they didn't even buff AP. We gotta see with TF, but that's not looking good, man. That's not looking good. So Vayne, what do I think of Vayne? Vayne is kind of in the same excuse me, category as Kog'Maw. She's and ironically enough, she was one of the best ADs for a while. Which actually reminds me, let me see. Where is Vayne on the UGG list? So, tier list, ADC. Apparently Kog'Maw is the highest win rate ADC, which again, this is on apparently the new patch 14.5 because I am a day late. So it has only been a day, but we gotta see. We gotta play it out more. But Smolder's top tier, Kog'Maw's top tier, somehow Neela is. Seta, this, that. I don't see Seraphine on here anymore. Oh no, I do. She's really low, which is weird. Wow. But Vayne used to be top tier. Where is she now? Vayne is middle of the pack. Wow. And crit ADCs are still suffering. Sad. But either way, what do I think of Vayne? I don't know. I think Vayne is a very, very hard champion to balance around. I think for a long time she used to be weak. Now she probably is decent because they added the Q damage to the towers. They buffed up a lot of stuff with the W. Like they did a lot. They honestly did a lot. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with Vayne. I don't think Vayne is great, but I think the items kind of make Vayne Vayne. Like if the items are good, she's good. If they're not, she's not really that good. She's very, very item reliant and dependent. But let's see. So, the Vayne changes from 13.6 did a lot of good to give her a fighting chance in early trades, but at this point it's become clear that Vayne is just too strong, especially as a top laner, which is disgusting. We like to preserve Tumble as satisfying but to press in the early game, but don't want her to be choking out and running down her melee competition. Wow. So, the bonus move speed from the passive is now nerfed a little bit, which is interesting. And then the cooldown of Tumble is slightly higher early, which I think is fine. You're supposed to max this anyway, most of the time. This is fine. I mean, it's a slight nerf, especially to her passive, but it's slightly worse. Yeah, I think she's alright. It still doesn't take away from her fantasy. Oh wow, they're actually touching Veigar. So I've actually been playing Veigar a little bit recently. Now that I've moved to mid lane, I really hate playing ADC now. So I mean, I'm never gonna leave ADC fully. Maybe, who knows? But I have been dabbling more in Aesol and Veigar again, mid lane. I've actually been having a lot of fun. Veigar doesn't feel as strong later because he gets his power spike like mid to late, not really full late. I mean, full late he's still really fucking good, but excuse me. But I don't know. Veigar's Veigar. It's weird to say. Unless they make like wide sweeping changes, I feel like he's in an alright spot. I think he's just okay. So let's see. Season 14 nerfed Rabadon's AP multiplier. We've generally lowered the AP ratios lives, which haven't been the kindest to Veigar, even though he just gets it back anyway. He's still coming up a bit short, compared to where we'd like him in terms of power. This patch would be giving him a small buff to his Q. Really? Let's see. So the Q damage is now scaling a little bit better. That's nice and appreciated. Cool. His ult, Primordial Burst on that ass. It's going to a lower cooldown early. That's pretty good too. I feel like Veigar's ult early isn't that much of a big deal. I mean, obviously as the game goes on, it gets worse and worse, right? It becomes a nuke, but Veigar's ult early is honestly decently weak. I do feel that. So them lowering the cooldown to use a little bit more is honestly fine. I think this is fine. I think these are nice buffs for Veigar. Did they change anything? No. Are they good? Yeah. They're decent. They're alright. It's alright. So, Vexana. What do we think of Vex? For some reason, I thought Vex was really good, right? I think she was one of the people who, like, her cooldowns are so low that she just spams shit. And she does really good damage. Like, any champion with resets has the potential to just be really, like, fucking broken at some points. But I feel like Vex feels a little on the weaker side. As long as they just slightly increase her damage, I think she'll be fine. I think her kit is just fine at its base level. So let's see. Vex doesn't quite have the damage she needs to chain together multi kills like she could last season. That's true, and it probably has to do with them lowering, like they said, all the AP shit. So we're upping her damage when played as an anti-mobility mage. I don't know what the fuck that means, but okay. So the passive detonation is now slightly higher with slightly better scaling. Whoopee. And then E, killing units with looming darkness now grants doing loose passive refund. That's actually really good. Holy shit. Killing minions with E, which wasn't very common, but I would consider this a more quality of life thing. But that's actually pretty decent. So you're not only doing more damage with the passive, but you're getting it slightly more often too because of the new E change. I think that's good. I honestly think that's good. It buffs up her damage a little bit. I would have liked to see base numbers in her main abilities, but I guess they want to, preserve her niche of anti-mobility or making you work for it by applying the E in general. I think that's fair. I think that's fine. I don't think Vex is that weak, but I think she's whatever. Wukong. I hate this character. This character's been changed so many times. I feel like he's ridiculous. He's good for 5 seconds. He's bad for 5 years. So let's see what they're doing. Wukong isn't performing quite as well as we'd like him to, and when he is performing well, he feels really fucking unfair. His current state has a bit too late game skewed. Wow, that's good. So we're making some changes to his passive. As it is today, his passive regularly hits max stacks as a juggler when he's fighting camps, but struggles to get value against champions. These changes should help him in lane. So they want his lane to be a lot better, his juggle to be okay. So the maximum stacks are now 5%. They've doubled the stack amount, or the stack what it provides, obviously. And then the stack fall off is now one at a time, which actually is a really good change. Thank goodness. Yeah, Wukong's slightly better. I mean, his passive is good. His passive is decently good. But will this help lane Wukong? Yeah. Do people want to play lane Wukong? I don't think so. I think he's probably a lot better and a lot more fun as a jungler. Juggling is more chill anyway. Laning is hard for people, so it is what it is. Excuse me. Yorick Mori. So this is after the whole change from, him regenerating missing health and his ult basically not having a cooldown on the bonus magic damage, percent health you can apply. I don't know how Yorick landed. I've played Yorick a tiny bit since then. He feels alright. I feel like the ult damage is a little low. Like the constant hitting, it's a little low. It feels like it should have been a lot stronger. I don't feel like it's that strong. Is it better? Probably, but it just doesn't feel like it shows it. Excuse me. So let's see. In her current state, the Maiden of the Mist is currently too tanky against some champions while simultaneously being too squishy into others. That's such a weird, that's such a weird reality. Our goal with these changes is to make facing Maiden a more consistent experience for opponents and to find themselves matched up against her while lowering Yorick's overall power. Oh, wow, so they're nerfing him. That's sad. So, tooltip for the passive Mistwalkers, take reduced damage from monsters. Cool. So it's just clarified that nothing changed. E, cursed bonus damage for 8 attacks, 30 to 20. Sad. That's a decent nerf. Eulogy, the ult. So, Maiden no longer reduces area effect damage by 50%. Tooltip now clarifies the Maiden takes 70% damage from lane minions. Maiden's 1, 2, 3 maximum health damage no longer bypasses evasion. Okay. So she's slightly worse with just AoE, which is weird. But they did increase her armor and MR, so she's tankier at the base level, but spells will probably get her. Kind of. That's weird. Yorick is slightly worse, for sure. For sure, for sure. The E is probably the thing that I'm a little sad about, but the Maiden stuff only really matters more, I think, during the team fights and very select top lane matchups. But overall, they kind of compensate with the armor and MR. I feel like Yorick is just, again, like they said, I actually agree with them, a tad bit worse. Zach, holy shit, this has been a long patch notes. How long are we in? I said we had to do this quick, and we're about to hit an hour. Holy fuck. So Zach, I feel like Zach is sleeper low-key really good. I feel like Zach heals like so much from his blobs, like it's actually insane. His passive is one of the most useful passives of the game. Not even because of the res, just because when he eats the blobs, he gets so much health back. It's actually unfair. Like I've had to fight Zach tops, and thankfully they were ass, but the fight extended so far because of the healing. I was like, am I fighting fucking Alawi? What's going on? So Let's see what they're doing. They're probably, if they're smart, they're gonna nerf him. If they're smart, I hope they nerf him. Let's see. Zach has been taking over top lane. Wow, I was right. His powers and jungler are still in a relatively healthy spot, so we're able to give us some top lane nerfs. Top Zac maxes W, while jungle Zac maxes E. Reducing the scaling per rank on his W should bring down his power. Let's see. So the damage on his W is going down by the base amount, even though it's going up early. And then the max health is staying the same, the AP is staying the same. So the base damage is changing, but I feel like it's changing so little, this doesn't matter. Like, it really does not matter. Wow. I feel like Zac is basically the same. Okay, items, Celestial Opposition. So, so they're nerfing the Slay, but they want to give this thing more power. I'm not too familiar with the support items. I still have not played support besides twice, where I played like AP mage support, so I don't know how bad this is. I don't know how good this is. The cooldown's going down by 2, the slow duration's going up by 0.5, the strength is going up by 60. Slightly better. Cool. Dreammaker. Again, I don't play support, so I don't really use this. We're continuing to retune support items, making their scaling to the game more powerful. So they just want to be more powerful late, and from the look of it, it looks like it definitely will. 140 to 255 is a big jump. Same as 90 to 170. Big ass jump. Frozen Heart. Frozen Heart, I feel like it's weird. I feel like I built it all the time on Nasus, but the fact that from what I remember, now I could be wrong here because I really don't build it almost at all. Frozen Heart feels really niche. Like, I don't really feel like I want to build it unless I'm in very specific matchups where they have a lot of attack speed. It's, I don't know. To me, it's just too niche. I don't know. I feel like it's not that good. I feel like they should buff it, but let's see. Frozen Heart is currently the most built take item in the game. Wow, I was completely wrong with this one. Holy shit, that's rare. For a niche item that is hyper-focused on hampering one specific style of one damage type, attack speed, that means the item is overperforming. Well, no duh, it's fucking cheap as shit. It's 2,400 gold. No duh. This patch we're nerfing Frozen Heart's more generic strength so to preserve its usefulness. So they're upping the gold, they're lowering the armor by 5. It's still going to be really good. If they nerf it a little bit more, it'll be in line. I think this is really good for its price. Like, the price point is just insane. Alright, so Heartsteel. What do I think of Heartsteel? I've been playing a lot more top lane recently, again, because I'm having my grand exodus from the bot lane, at least for now. Until they make it better, hopefully. I feel like Heartsteel sucks ass. Building it as a first item, which is kind of what you need to do, kind of, because you want to start stacking as early as possible. At least that's what I hope you would want to do with this item. How it's supposed to work, I think. It feels like shit. It really feels like shit. I feel like it doesn't do enough. I feel like it just sucks. So let me see. Heartsteel currently isn't worth purchasing. Even those with respectable health ratios or easy access to the gameplay pattern. This item is built to support. Wow. This patch will be buffing the item's scaling while keeping the early game similar. Let's see. Excuse me. Ugh. And for some reason, the tooltip isn't going to reflect this. $1 billion company. So the proc damage is now going from 80. So they're lowering the base, but 12% bonus health from items. I feel like they just should have kept 100, but okay. And then Leviathan, the Ord upgrade, the same shit. I feel like this shit sucks ass. Like, this shit still sucks fucking asshole. I don't think this is that good at all. Like, them lowering the 20 health is fine, right? But it's just like, the 12% bonus health, it's bonus health from items. And technically this is, you know, it does stack itself, but it's like, I don't know, them lowering the 20 just seems so ass. Like, such like a spit on the ground. That's so weird. Anyway, Solstice Slay. I don't even know what this item does. Solstice Slay is the best take support item. In order to bring it down where they're nerfing it. So, the cooldown is to half a minute. The bonus health is now flat. The most move speed is lower. And it just overall sucks more. Cool. Shojin. I don't know what to feel about Shojin. Jax uses it. Smolder uses it. I don't really know who else uses it. Maybe Camille. Not really, though. I don't know. Yi. Oh, no. I know Yi can use it, too. Maybe Lucian. Maybe Ezreal. I really don't know. This is a weird item. I don't know if it's strong. I feel like it is, but only a couple people use it, so it's very weird. So our goal with these shonen changes is to make it synergize better with champions that should be primary users of the item. So, and this change was already implemented in 14.4, so that was last patch. That's interesting. Spells grant only one stack per cast up to one per second. So maybe that's for Smolder's E, who knows. Attack-based spells that add a stack and get their damage improved by the spell amp. Maybe that's for Zeri, who knows. Damage from champions passive should no longer stack for focused will. I don't even know who the fuck that would be for. Okay, so Shojin I feel like is they say it's better, but I don't really see it. I don't know. I mean, it kind of is procking more on stuff that it should have procced on before, but I'll just say Shojin is slightly better. So Sunfire. I feel like Sunfire is kind of weak. I feel like Sunfire is only good on people that giga stack health and takes aren't even that good to begin with. So the weird AP equivalent of this, hallowed whatever the fuck, I forgot what it's called, the stupid like purple one. Again, the MR equivalent, sorry, not AP. The MR equivalent of Sunfires, I feel like it's just worse. It's more for wave clear, which is fine. I mean, you're realistically getting Sunfires to kind of wave clear anyway, but I wish they really played more into Sunfires like being an AoE burn item. So instead of doing flat damage, which comes with its benefits, I wish they made it percent health damage. Because like I feel like if you have this and if you're in the fight for a while, you should feel this. Like you should see it burning people. You should feel their health getting whittled away. Not slow enough to where you can't notice it, but slow enough to where like you'll notice it like, oh yeah, look, they are slightly burning. Like I feel like that'd be cool. I feel like Sunfires could be a lot more cool. Anyway, based on our reads back in 14.1, Sunfire Aegis was overperforming. However, now that the dust has settled, become apparent these nerfs weren't necessary. Wow, so they admitted they were wrong. Crazy. So the health is up and the immolate base damage is up. Cool. AP assassin items. Let's see what they're doing with these. Few of our AP assassin items are mistuned, leading to players with higher skill brackets to almost always buying the same item, which one of the biggest perpetrators, which is right here at the beginning, is Lichbane. We're hoping to nudge some levels of choice. So, excuse me. So, Lichbane is going down by 5%. Whoopee. Storm Surge is going up by 8%. I feel like Storm Surge is such a weak item. The actual active of it, I feel like, is so fucking useless and never really utilized. I thought it was so much cooler than it is, but it really isn't. So maybe the move speed is going to be better because when you start proccing it, it procs after 2.5 seconds. And while it's proccing, you get the move speed, but it's like the damage itself of the actual passive when it procs just like almost never hits. I'm looking at the item after I've had it for like 10 minutes and it only does, unless the tooltip is wrong, right? It's only done like 80 damage. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I feel like Storm Surge is lackluster. And then Rocket Belt. This is really only for gauges, so it getting buffed really doesn't matter, but I guess it was weaker. Cool. ARAM. I'm not going over this even though I play a lot of ARAM. Bug fixes, I don't care. And that's the patch. Thank God we're finally through it. It is raining hard as hell, so I have to go running soon. But let's see the skins. So we have Project GP, which doesn't look like he belongs in Project. Let me see the splash art for this. Yeah, this looks weird. I like how he looks like an old man. And let me just bring the Google here to the actual splashes here. So this is Project GP, which looks like an old man. Then we have oh, this is Jax. Okay, the cape and the stance and it looking like a spear honestly made me think it was Pantheon. So that's pretty interesting. And then we have Project Neferi. So let's look at the skins here. So Project gameplay pretty good. I don't like how they show one of his arms being like kind of skin, but looking at it more, it definitely looks more robotic than anything. So I guess this is alright. This could be a potentially really cool skin. Now, this is the weird part about Project, right? Because Project has been out for so long, the longer it's out, the more champions they're going to give it to. It feels weird that they're giving it to these people. I mean, it's fine, right? I like it. It's just, I don't know. Before they used to make a lot more big a deal about Project, and the fact that we're getting 3 skins feels weird, and the people we're getting it for feels weird. Like, GP's alright. It just, something's weird about it. Like, the fact that he's pink is maybe the thing that's kind of messing with me. I think it should be more red, not pink, but that's just me. After that, Jax. I think Jax is actually a great addition. I think this fits perfectly. I think this is going to be cool as shit. Now, I don't know if any of these are legendaries, but I hope one of them are. Because, again, Project used to be the premier skin line. But this skin is hot as shit. And then finally, we have Neferi. Neferi's weird. I think Neferi works thematically very well for this. It's just I gotta see it more because she's already red, right? Ideally for a skin, you want to make like the colors a little bit more different than what they actually were. And Neferi here is just already red. Now she's more neon red, which I like, but I feel like it's too close to base. Is she a good contestant for the skin? Absolutely. Should they have changed the colors? Yeah, but I don't even know to what. But either way, I think this is a pretty nice skin. I mean, of course we have to see it in game, but we're probably going to see the chromas here anyway. So, let's take a look. As mentioned in the last patch, the opulent event chromas for porcelain are now turned on. Cool. So Project Jack's chromas looks really good. I think honestly Project Jack's is probably the best skin here. Project Defear just doesn't look like it has enough going on. It does look Project though. GP is the weirdest one for some reason. I don't know. GP is weird. It's probably a good skin. It just feels a little out of touch. But overall, I wish they would tell me if one of them was a legendary. Is there a way to tell from the patch notes at least? Let's see. Uh, no. Shit. Well, either way, very light patch skin wise, pretty big patch balance wise. Like holy fucking shit. So I guess we'll get to the end and just rate it. So what do I think? Looking at the totality of things, uh, let me just take a final gander and everything. So Belveth slightly worse, Bread whatever, Evelyn whatever, J4 okay, Cade okay, Kog'Maw decent, Maokai jokingly like nerfed, like this is almost nothing. Italy whatever, Rek'Sai pretty big buff, Senna whatever, Seraphine pretty big buff in my opinion. Silver whatever, Smolder pretty big. Honestly, they did touch a lot of ADs here. Granted, they did nerf Vayne, but only slightly. They buffed Vigor. They honestly buffed a lot of the stuff I used. Kog'Maw, Vayne, Sivir, Smolder. Even though it's not like great buffs, they did actually touch them. So you know what? I think, looking to the future, I'm slightly excited. Now, I wanted to give this patch 7 out of 10 just because of all the AD touchies. But I'm going to settle at 6.5 because we got to see how they land. I don't want to rate it too good because I don't know how impactful they are because a lot of them I do have to test. So I wanted to give it 7, but I'm going to be giving it 6.5. 6.5 Marc Merrills out of 10. That's going to be it. I hope everyone enjoyed. That's about it. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Hopefully I'm not sick and not, and I'm doing well. But I hope everyone's doing well out there. It's sick season. It's rainy season. I hope everyone's well. Anyway, that's it.